Imagine a little kid sitting next to a fat old-school tube TV. The year is 1997, and the Star Wars Special Editions have just been released in theaters to the public. That little kid looked up at the screen for a split second on a late-night talk show or special program of some sort to see a scene with Harrison Ford talking to a big CGI blob monster in the middle of the desert. This was my first exposure to the original Star Wars. A couple of years later, I was visiting a friend's house and walked into his room while he had the first movie playing on his television. Dead soldiers are scattered in the halls of a ship with an opposing force's troops assessing the damage. Their helmets looked like skulls, and they were clad in white armor. Suddenly, a black variant walks through the destroyed door they'd filed through. Only this guy was different. He had a cape, commanded respect from the others, and surveyed the situation before leading his troops further into the ship. I didn't know what any of this was at the time, but it really forced me to take a mental note of it. That same year, there was a huge swarm of hype surrounding this thing that kept getting brought up called Star Wars. Commercials of a dinosaur-looking character and two warriors wielding laser swords were often doing battle with something that looked like the devil on TV. I had no idea what the hell that was, but for my birthday that year, it was the first time gifts stopped being Jurassic Park related, and a ton of stuff labeled Star Wars was inside all of my presents. And after that year, that was it. I wouldn't hear from Star Wars again until the year 2004. Flash forward to my birthday again, and this year, I was given the original Star Wars trilogy. I finally sat down to see what all the fuss was about, and holy shit, I couldn't believe what I'd been missing. The original Star Wars film from 1977 I actually have never seen in its original format. The only version I have seen is the version from the 2004 DVD set, which was the 1997 special edition, only with a couple extra tweaks. This special edition of the movie was made after the groundbreaking success of computer-generated imagery from Jurassic Park and the Lost World. The advancements paved the ways for George Lucas to go back and either redo or add a ton of special effects that would have been impossible in the 70s. I do own the original trilogy's last video release from 1995, but I've never watched them. Nevertheless, these three movies left a massive impact on me when I finally saw them. It was like watching the original Jurassic Park for the first time again. Just as the dinosaurs actually felt real and believable, the world building in Star Wars made you believe it was an absolutely real place that existed. World building seems so tiny to call it that in retrospect because they were building multiple worlds. In fact, universe creation sounds more accurate. Now, before making this video, I sat down and revisited the original Star Wars in preparation to keep it fresh in my mind and attempted to view the film as if I'd never seen it before. This time I noticed a lot of things I'd never noticed before, and I feel obligated to bring them up. The ridiculous level of detail put into this thing is incredible. Even though I can clearly see things hidden now, like the cinderblock-esque devices used to hold up the land speeder to make it look like it was hovering, and the small parts of the movie you can tell where Mark Hamill had to remain still before switching out his ignited lightsaber for only the hilt to be altered in editing with special effects. Yeah, even all of that stuff I noticed, this seems to have gotten me a deeper appreciation for this movie than I previously had. This was a very low-budget independent movie that became a gigantic phenomenon overnight, and its success is unrivaled. The basic story of the first Star Wars is extremely simple, as it only details the timeless tale of a hero's journey. Farm boy finds mentor, is trained to fight, meets up with side characters, and rescues princess. The mentor dies, and the boy learns valuable moral lessons before saving the day and defeating the oppressive enemy. It's been done literally 1,000 times before, but somehow, Star Wars feels like the only time I've ever seen it done so right. The added-in scenes with Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo's CGI head shift don't really bother me, although I'd really love to see the original version of the film. I kind of found it really difficult to locate any specific thing wrong with this movie, and watching it completely in anticipation for The Last Jedi has brought back a ton of memories I'd forgotten about having. That first moment the stormtroopers burst into the princess's ship and start destroying the rebel soldiers is really exciting and well executed. The huge force of the Empire's Star Destroyer overtaking the tiny consular vessel is so amazing to look at and sets the movie and entire series up so perfectly well by showing everything we need to know immediately. There is a huge oppressive government on their way to destroy this small group of rebels, and they will not lose. The size and scope of the Empire, as well as the barren, desolate location of Tatooine, are really odd choices for a movie set in space. There's no futuristic lingo of how peoples have progressed and are ready to evolve, or any of that weird stuff you'd find in any other movie set in space. And instead, we're given a broken and beaten down shithole of a world where a farm boy looks at two suns setting, with the only thing on his mind being the longing for wanting to leave. and find his purpose in the galaxy. It's extremely good stuff. The music by John Williams is beyond iconic and the performances are amazing. Governor Tarkin, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, and of course Han Solo. This is my favorite guy in the first movie. He's such a contrast to Luke's goody-good behavior and nonchalantly lies, talks shit to his enemies, and kills bounty hunters looking for him without giving it a second thought. He's kind of a dick, but he's such a realistic character that I could see existing in the real world. It's crazy not to like him. While I was watching the movie again recently, I actually found it really interesting that they made his character grab his cash and dart out of there. For all intents and purposes, had I not seen the movie before, I would have thought he's gone. There's no reason for him to stay, so he really shouldn't. When he does come back at the last second and shoots Vader's TIE fighter and allows Luke to blow up the Death Star, I genuinely got a really big smile on my face at how that was such a great setup. There's footage on YouTube of what is apparently the actual audience watching that part of the movie from 1977, and their reaction is so great to watch. Bottom line, this is a very good movie. I've said it in the past that this was one of my favorite films to watch, and I still stand by that statement. The first Star Wars is an incredibly well-made and endearing movie that could have been a huge flop and loss of money for all those involved. It seriously is a good movie, and I'm glad I've taken the time to go back and revisit it. Hopefully you guys got some enjoyment out of this video and share my thoughts and opinions on the movie as well. And if you feel like I deserved it, I'd appreciate the like, and hope you consider subscribing so that you can see me again. I'll see you all in the next video, and as always guys, take it easy and may the Force be with you.